Let's say your brother or your cousin calls you one day and says, "Hey, we were having some wills drawn up, and the lawyer said that we need to name someone to take care of the kids and the kids' money if something happens to both of us. We think the world of y'all, and we can't think of anyone we'd rather trust our kids with. Can we name you in our wills?" Wow, what an honor to be asked in the first place. You probably got asked because you're Uncle Nice Guy and you do anything to help your nieces and nephews, especially if something happened to their parents. Well, good for you. But there are two parts to the ask. The first is take care of my kids if something happens to us, and the second is take care of our kids' money if something happens to us. As far as the money goes, even if they don't use this language, legally they're asking you to serve as a trustee. Now, a trustee is someone held responsible for managing assets held in trust for the benefit of someone else. As much as you may love your siblings, your cousins, or their children, before you say yes to being an individual trustee for someone else, consider some of the following. The first is time. How much time do you spend managing your own finances right now? Do you really want to add the management of a potentially large amount of money to one of those tasks that you have to do regularly with no pay? The second is training. Will you know what you're doing? Administering a trust requires compliance with complicated tax, legal, and investment requirements. Sure, you can hire and get help from the pros, but at the end of the day, the buck will stop on your desk, which brings up another point, which is risk. What if something goes wrong? Suppose you make a mistake and cost the trust a wad of money due to a tax slip-up or an investment goose egg or a legal misstep. Do you have the resources to make the trust whole? And finally, there's temperament. Do you like saying no a lot? One of the most difficult aspects of acting as a personal trustee is carrying out the wishes of the grantor. That's the person who sets up the trust for their kids when the beneficiaries want something else. It's not unusual for one need to arise after another that's greater and greater in frequency. Yet one of the primary reasons people have trusts written into their wills is to save their beneficiaries from themselves, especially when they're young. Also think long and hard about what Thanksgiving and Christmas will be like after you've had to turn down that request for a new car or a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to invest in a friend's new business venture. So do you just have to say no altogether? Well, here's another possibility to accomplish the same goal. Would the person asking you to act as a trustee in their will for their children, would they be willing for you to serve not as the sole individual trustee, but as something called a co-trustee with a professional corporate trust company? This kind of partnership can afford everything that your brother or cousin might want in a trustee, which really is family oversight by someone that they know and trust, along with avoiding the problems mentioned earlier, things that you should run away from as fast as you can. If you ever are asked, consider it an honor that someone thinks that highly of you to ask you to serve as an individual trustee for their children's money. But consider bringing in some help in the form of a corporate co-trustee, or I'd suggest just taking a pass. Offering you wisdom on wealth, I'm Byron Moore.